Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bible study. And on today, we're doing our fifth lesson in the series of Let the Older Women Teach the Younger Women. And this Bible study is about 5 powerful women of the Bible and what we can learn from them. So, the powerful women that I wanted to depict out of the Word of God are Ruth, Esther, Naomi, Mary Magdalene, and Rahab. What we're going to do is look at some of the characteristics of these women that I think are very notable, and also these characteristics that really were key in making these women's lives better at times of distress. What I want you all to gather from this lesson that I gathered, the thing I want to transfer here, the information, the revelation, is that we can have certain qualities that people will notice that can make a huge difference in our lives. All of these women were in distress or just a bad state or, just trouble, whatever. And just these key qualities in their nature and their characteristics are what saved them. And I'm going to show you how. So first we're going to start with Ruth. Ruth was the woman who was married and her husband died, but she also had a sister-in-law and a mother-in-law, and both of their husbands died too. So they became 3 women from a household. It was a mother. Naomi was the mother, and Naomi had 2 sons, and one was married to Ruth and one was married to Orpah. All 3 of those men died, the father and the 2 sons, and left all 3 of these women as widows. But they were family, And Ruth was so committed to her mother-in-law that even after her husband died, and even though she was a young woman in a position to remarry, which back in those days, marriage was such a big deal. Being married covered you. Being married is the greatest aspirations women had. They didn't work, really have careers. Back then, you sort of were subject to your husband. So if something happened to your husband and there was no provision made for you, you'd be, a desolate woman. So all 3 of these women were in a desolate state. But Ruth loved her mother-in-law and wanted to stay with her. So she was loyal. And those are the 2 things about Ruth I want to bring out. She was loyal and she knew how to follow instruction. So she was loyal to Naomi at a time when she could have gone free and said, oh, well, my husband died. I need to go and remarry. I know my new husband ain't going to want to take my mother-in-law from my old husband in. So I'll see you later, Miss Naomi. It's been nice knowing you. Orpah took advantage of the fact that Ruth suggested that both of them do that. Go back home to your mother. Try to remarry. There's nothing I can do for you. I love you, but, I have nothing else to offer you. That's what their mother-in-law said. And most people would have left, not even, in a mean way, but just in it makes sense kind of way. But Ruth didn't want to leave Naomi. Orpah said, okay. But Ruth said, no, I can't leave you. And that speaks to the fact that she was loyal, because she wasn't just thinking about herself. She was thinking about the fact that my mother-in-law is older. She's not going to remarry. She doesn't have anybody to look after her. I just can't leave her. And so that quality right there, that unselfish loyalty, is what stood out in the whole story. If you read the story of Ruth, she ended up marrying Boaz, the richest man in town, mainly because he noticed her faithfulness. It goes to show you that you hear women all over the time in the Christian community talking about, I want my Boaz. And that means a man who has means. He's a godly man. He did everything decent and in order. And he had his life together, and he was able to give to her and take care of her. If you read the story, you'll see that. But what was really key was men like that want virtue in women. Every time Boaz spoke in the book of Ruth concerning Ruth and describing her, he always described her character, her loyalty, the fact that she wasn't selfish, the fact that she wasn't, burning with lust. He even said at one point, when she asked him to redeem her, meaning he was one of her husband's kinsmen and he had the authority to marry her and take her under his wing so that her husband's lineage could carry on. There was a way that they did that. And she asked him to redeem her, and he, being a man of honor, said, well, there's one guy in line before me. I'm going to talk to him. And if he doesn't want to do it, then I will definitely do it. And but before that, he always dealt with her when she asked him, he said, that's another good quality about you. You asked me, and I'm an older man, and you're a young woman. You could have married a younger man, but you weren't looking at the lust side of it. You were looking at, the principle of it, looking out for your mother-in-law because I'll look out for her. And he just pointed out everything about her that was mature, virtuous, and of high character. And I don't even think Ruth really focused on being that way. That's just who she was. But it just goes to show you that having good character stands out, particularly the people who have a reason to admire that. Usually people with a lot of wealth and a lot of operations that they run, which Boaz had several fields and several workers and things like that, they appreciate good character. And that's what he showed. He appreciated her good character. And that is why he married her. And that is why she was well taken care of. And her mother-in-law was well taken care of. And she was able to be in the lineage of Jesus. She gave birth to King David's grandfather. So, she just was honored all the way. And Naomi was taken care of too. And to be able to use your beauty and your youth for a purpose of security, which is what women really wanted back then and even now. She used her beauty to obtain security for not just herself, but for her mother-in-law, the mother of her ex-husband. When a man loves you that much, admires you that much, that he'll take care of your family, even your family that's connected to another man, like your children with another man. Those are the kind of qualities that people who really have means can appreciate. Godly people can appreciate. So that's the thing about Ruth. She had loyalty and she knew how to follow instruction. I don't know if I covered that, but Naomi was the one who told her how to carry herself in front of Boaz, and she listened, so she knew how to follow instruction. And she did what her mother-in-law told her to do, and she was able to deal with him in a way that he understood and that he appreciated. Because sometimes you can be a smart person, but if you don't know how to deal with people in a way that that respects the things that they respect, you can turn them off. I remember I was dealing with a woman who was selling insurance, and I needed the insurance. I was determined to get the insurance. She was a really smart person, but the way she talked to me, I'm like 50 years older than her, not 50 years, but old enough to be her mother. I'm probably 25 years older than her. And I'm a professional person, and when I'm dealing in business, I like professionalism. I don't like girlfriend. Hey, girlfriend. I don't like honey because we black stuff. I like professionalism. And if you deal with me without professionalism when I'm doing business, it turns me off. And so I wasn't able to do business with her because she didn't respect some of the characteristics that are important to me when I am making a serious business transaction. So sometimes people can train you in some things that matter to other people, and it make a difference in your livelihood, or in your effectiveness. And that's what Naomi did for Ruth, and Ruth listened, and it worked. Okay, I didn't mean to talk a whole 10 minutes about Ruth, but this might have to be several Bible studies. In fact, I'm going to stop there. That's Ruth. Let's do Esther next. Join me for that. I'm going to do this in 5 parts.